All right, give me just a moment to get this link out there. Audio's good. Okay. Give it just a second for people to get in here. Need to get this link posted in Discord. All right. And here we go. What's up, everyone, and welcome to Shitcoin Church. The markets are looking really good. A lot to talk about. You know, in traditional fashion, I suppose we'll begin, by discussing the psychology aspect of this. You know, I'm sure you guys were shitting yourselves just as hard as I was. Towards the middle part of April. That was a really growth pullback. I think what made it so bad for me, at least, is that it happened so fast. And I think when it happens that fast, it just creates a lot more fear. There's a lot more it just happens so fast you don't have time to react. You know, if Bitcoin, like the last 30% pullback we had, for example, let me see when this was. 1 second. So we had that nice 30% pullback in early January, right? And that took a bit of time to get to the bottom. You know, if you call January 8th the top, and the bottom, the 22nd of January. I guess, or maybe it did take around the same amount of time. Let's see. So yeah, that was about 2 weeks. And the top here was around the 14th of April. Yeah, it was about the same time. You know, this one happened in 11 days. Maybe what made this so bad was because just the lack of momentum. And, there was clear, breakdown. We had 3 drives on top of 3 drives. You had that kind of ascending wedge structure that broke down. So that just made it, really horrific. Tim, you said you can't see the screen. That's because nobody can see the screen. Because we're just talking right now. But it happened pretty quick. The balance has been pretty aggressive so far. And at least in early January when we pulled back, it was almost a sigh of relief, because Bitcoin had just been going up so fucking hard, so fucking fast. And this time when we pulled back, Bitcoin had just kind of been fucking around, going sideways for a while. Really 2 months from, February to April. And then it dumped, so people were just like, holy shit, this is terrible. But I do believe Bitcoin's still bullish. I am going to show you guys, something that I'm looking at that I think, this literally called the exact bottom of that pullback. I don't know if you guys saw me tweet out, bottom is in a day or two ago. It wasn't just like some feeling in my sack or something like that. It was, there was something that I was relying on to be that bounce. So that's just something to think about. We're going to take a look at that yearly VWAP. I'm looking at it on BitMEX. Don't ask me why, but I mean the PA is still really good on BitMEX. The TA, it's easy to do really clean TA on BitMEX. In the context of DeFi, because that's primarily what I'm exposed to, Ethereum-based DeFi. I do have a good bit of Hxro too, Hxro, which has been absolutely slaying. I mean, during that pullback, Hxro didn't budge, which was fucking badass. So Nice to see that. My tokens are vested. I'm actually an equity owner of Hxro, for the people that don't know that. I bought it. It's not like I was just given the equity as an employee. I actually purchased it a little over 2 years ago now. But that's been doing really well. So it is really good to see that, you know, both as an employee and an owner of Hxro. Of course, you know, we have Hxro Network on the horizon. If you guys haven't read that light paper, check it out. Solana summer, yeah. I've got my swag on the way from Solana, hopefully. You know, I broke down and I asked for it, and hopefully they're gonna send it to me. You know, we'll see what's up with that. You know, the Hxro circulating supply isn't as much as people think, because a lot of those coins are vested. You know, we have Jump Trading and 3 Arrows and Alameda and CMS and Arca and Ledger Prime and all of those fucking guys are invested in the Hxro token. I don't think you'll see all those names on many other Solana projects, especially like people like Jump Trading, you know, one of the largest market making firms in the world for traditional markets. It really is a big deal. So we're really excited. We've been building. We've been relatively quiet. We're about to step up our efforts, you know, in marketing. We're gonna bring the fucking noise, you know, because I think what we're doing is totally unique. Anyway, we're not just gonna talk about Hxro. You know, we're here to talk about shitcoins. We did do a shitcoin church last week. Why didn't you do a shitcoin church last week? Well, were you in a good mood last week? Oh, no, you weren't? Oh, you were all in Solana? You were probably in a good mood. I was not in a good mood. I hit a new portfolio all-time high. I still remember I was showing my wife my portfolio. I was like, wow, you know, that's a lot of money. We went around and we drove around and looked at fucking houses all day. Fucking 3 days later, I'd lost like 30% of my net worth. Not a pretty situation. But I think we're gonna make it. All signs are pointing to us making it. So we'll see what happens. Of course, Ethereum's stealing the show. Everybody's big mad because Elon Musk, not Elon, but Tesla, sold like 10% of their Bitcoin or something like that. I mean, you can't really blame them, like, can you? I mean, wouldn't you? A lot of people have speculated, and I think this is right, that, you know, they sold that Bitcoin because it allowed them to book like $110 million extra profit and allowed them to beat earnings estimates, you know, which is good for the stock prices. Hey Josh, what's up? Yeah, Derek, you can go fuck yourself. Anybody that had Solana was just laughing while everybody else was just in full Wojak mode. And you know what? A lot of the Solana ecosystem projects were in the same boat. You know, Hxro, of course, among those. But, you know, what we're seeing right now, Xavier, first time here, live. Welcome, bro. I'm glad you're here. What we are seeing right now is a really, really fantastic recovery. Ethereum, Bitcoin leading the way, you know, in price, not price discovery, but, you know, we've made this new local high. We are pushing up on new highs for the week. I'm not 100% sure, you know, are we going to have this mega Ethereum rally this week? It is interesting that, you know, Ethereum is in price discovery right now, and Bitcoin's just kind of meandering. You know, we talked about in the past, you know, you've got a bull market, right? You've got a bear market, and then you've got a crab market. I didn't know what all these crab memes meant for a while because I'm a fucking boomer. Not really, but to some of you guys, I'm probably a boomer. But a crab market is just like sideways, right? We've got a mascot for up, we've got a mascot for down. We need a mascot for sideways. That's good information, Nick. Thank you for telling everyone. Nick Petrunin in chat says, just so you guys know, Biden's going to be formally talking about the tax change proposals tomorrow. You know, one thing, people did blame, you know, Bitcoin's pullback on that Biden 43% capital gains tax narrative. The thing is, though, and what people don't understand is that's not new. That's not news. Like, this has been known for a long time. Ever since this dude ran for president, he's been talking about this shit. I mean, I pulled up articles from last October that we're talking about Joe Biden 43% tax. So I do think that's a bullshit narrative. You know, I mean, people do just like to kind of assign, you know, they want to blame somebody. They want to blame something. I think that took the blame this go. The reality is, in my opinion, that, you know, that was already priced in. We did have this technical breakdown. You know, Bitcoin was a bit overheated anyway. It's healthy to have this 30% retracement. You know, it allows new buyers to step in. It allows new interest to come into the space. Here's the thing, though, you know, and I voted for Joe Biden, and, you know, some people are like, oh, you know, well, fuck you, like, because you're the one that voted for blah, blah, blah. I mean, you do realize that this is not going to go through the Senate, though, right? I mean, they can pass this through the House all they want. The Democrats don't have control of the Senate, you know, and even if somehow it did get through, I can't imagine it being retroactively applied to 2021. It's just not big news. If it does pass, if anything, and maybe this is grasping at straws, but I almost feel like it's going to be like, all right, well, let's just fucking pump everything like as hard as we can right now. You know, let's squeeze every last bit of juice out of this before we get taxed at 40% or whatever. I mean, I'm paying 40% anyway. You know, of course, they extended the tax deadline to May 17th. So in the next week, for me, I'm gonna have to take out a nice chunk of change. I'm really not looking forward to it, but it just is what it is. You know, you do what you got to do, right? I gotta get I'm filing an extension. You know, I use token tax for any of you guys that are just shitting themselves. Token tax was really good to me. They did a good job, and I had a lot of bullshit, and I had a lot of staking and farms and rugs and shit, you know, all sorts of shit was going on. They got me sorted out. It took a bit of time. They got me sorted out. You know, without them, I wouldn't have been able to do it. Just full disclosure, I'm not paid to endorse them. I had a good experience, you know, with their customer service. I had a good experience with the people that I work with over there. Jonathan says, at what point is it worth moving out of the United States? For me, never. I mean, I like it here. If I have to pay higher taxes to live where I want to live, then it's just kind of the cost of doing business. You know? I mean, the idea here is to make so much fucking money that even after you do pay taxes, that it's, you know, it's whatever. It's not a big deal. I mean, the market could definitely react to tomorrow's discussion. Just Google token tax is the best way to do it. But on the whole, I'm feeling pretty good. You know, if we look at when Ethereum-based DeFi really rallied last time, it kind of followed Ethereum rallying versus Bitcoin. That's what we're seeing right now. You know, we're going to take a look at some blue chip charts and shit like that on the stream. The idea is to go for about an hour today. Maybe a little less, maybe a little more. I am going to go out of town later this week, so I do have some things to do. So I want to make sure, you know, we get this out of the way. It is overdue, and then we can move on. What changed this token tax scan? Well, you know, for me, I had some transactions on Binance. I had transactions on Gemini, and I had transactions on Ethereum, right? So you hook up to the APIs. And you upload you post your Ethereum wallet address or whatever. XBNT is cool. You know, maybe we'll talk about that if we have some time. You know, if I did, like, if for example, maybe like Rook, like, just fucking face rip to 800 right now, I'd definitely be looking to rotate a little back into BNT. And I do think that I'd be taking advantage of XBNT, auto compounding, whatever. Yeah, looking lean. I have been, I've been in the gym. You know, it's Miami's coming up. I'm going to the beach with the in-laws in about a month, just before Miami. So I plan on showing up to Miami with a nice tan. I'm not going to be the guy that shows up out of shape, though. That'd be a shame. So it's a work in progress. We're working on it. We're getting there. My opinion on ApeGate? Why would I have an opinion on that? I don't know. I don't even know what the fuck that is. Somebody said I eat gum like a Safe Moon bag holder. Not eating gum. This is not gum. This is grown up. This is grown man shit. Okay? Grown man shit. But let's get into some charts. Vax and wax. No. Not wax, just Vax. Look. A famous saying, I believe this is how it goes, is a bird never made its nest in a bare tree. I'm pretty hairy, and I'm okay with it. The deadline's May 17th for taxes. So, I'm gonna show up being hairy. It's an audited token. Like, who gives a fuck? Like, just about everything's audited. Yeah, white guy summer. White boy summer. I'll be doing everything I can to be a part of white boy summer. If any of you guys have seen that video, it's pretty funny. Me and Belena and Richard Hart got you covered, showing up to Miami, looking like a congressman. Ugh. Okay. Anyway, let me get this switched over to charts. All right. No, I don't think so. What's really interesting is, we rallied hard about a week after people finished tax loss harvesting at the end of 2020. For those of you that don't know, tax loss harvesting is when you go ahead and, maybe you've been holding something since DeFi summer, you're down on it, and you go ahead and sell it just to maybe even sell it and buy it back again. And that just kind of reestablishes your cost basis for the trade. Another thing that it actually does is, if I bought, let's say I buy, YFI at $50,000 in DeFi summer, and then, sometime in December, I know these aren't exact numbers or timelines, but sometime in December, I end up selling that YFI for $10,000, then I can go ahead and I can take that loss and I can apply that, so I don't maybe pay as much capital gains the next year. And then I establish if I were to buy it back, I'd basically just be pushing my taxes back, kind of giving me a little bit more ability to compound. But I think, that was a big reason that we didn't see, some of these shitcoins really rally hard, until the new year, because we had to let people finish doing that. And now, the new thing could be after this May 17th deadline, and I do think that we're going to really start seeing DeFi. I mean, DeFi is recovering right now quite nicely, and I mean, there's some things like Compound and shit like that that look, that are in price discovery that look great. But I do really think that, May 17th, after that, we're going to see the majority of things maybe start to really go. Looking at DeFi perp, looking at these blue chips, doing all sorts of different analyses, trying to find out where they're going, looking at the targets. I do believe that most blue chip DeFi probably has maybe a 2x in it. And then I'd be looking at it for a 3x plus and other things. In terms of Rook, and somebody did a research request for ID earlier today. I posted the chart in messy charts. ID does look quite good, but we'll take a look at it on stream as well. Why May 17th? That's the tax deadline for the United States. So I would imagine, people right now are waiting to the last minute, I mean, like me, to pay their taxes, Like, I wouldn't about to take profit, to pay my taxes at the bottom of what happened a couple of days ago, I would, I wanted to wait for a bounce, I mean, MPH could hit $1,000. You also could definitely be dreaming. I definitely think that there's other DeFi. I talked about on previous church that if you really, didn't have much and you were looking for that big multiple, Probably Yax was the move. You know, Yax I think is like 4 or 5x from them. So if you're in on that, congratulations. It does look quite strong. So, you know, we'll take a look at that as well. The first thing that we're going to do is have a look at this volume weighted average price. So we have VWAP right here. Okay. And let me see here. Indicators. VWAP. Okay. So you can see here's the VWAP right here. All you have to do, indicator time frame. I'm going to switch this to, where's the 1 year option? Here we go. What in the F? Huh. This is not the same VWAP that I had. Did they change up the VWAP indicator or some shit like that? That's not it. We'll try this. And surely there's something going on here. Let's see. Oh, anchor period. Here we go. Yearly VWAP. It has bands or something. Standard deviation bands. Interesting. That is quite interesting. But we don't want the standard deviation bands. We just want the normal VWAP. I like to make mine white just because it stands out. Make it a little bit thicker. So if you wanted to do the same thing that I was doing, you just put that yearly VWAP on your chart. And you can see here, and this is XBT USD, that's BidMEX, right? Look at this wick. I mean, literally, the exact fucking bottom was like 20 bucks off the VWAP, 30 bucks off the VWAP. But the reason that I thought that that might be the bottom, and we're gonna go back in time here, is right here you can see the VWAP serving as bottom again. Now this is May of 20, right? These wicks, the VWAP was the exact bottom. If you had bids here, you literally bought the dip at the exact bottom, right? And the price action remained over the VWAP, over the volume weighted average price is typically considered bullish, while under the volume weighted average price is bearish. You can see right here that on this little uptrend, the VWAP, the absolute bottom, when we went below the VWAP, and this is what I was looking for, you know, to where I would have actually been scared, and I would probably have just gone up and sold everything, is we went below the VWAP here. Now you can see we're below the VWAP, and now the VWAP acted as resistance. And look, mega nuke after that. Of course, that was a black swan, but once again, VWAP acting as resistance, VWAP acting as support, and this is like perfect support, perfect resistance. You know, break below that, place your asks on the VWAP, or below this, asks on the VWAP. You typically do pretty well. So going even further back in time, you can see once again that, and this is the bottom of Bitcoin, this is early 2019, the VWAP acting as resistance, break above the VWAP, once again it's the exact bottom again. It's this simple. It's literally this fucking simple. Yeah, we're doing our Cardi B right now. We're getting our Cardi B on. Check this out. Bear market 2018. This yearly volume weighted average price. The exact top. The top. The top. Right below the VWAP. We're dumping. We're bearish below the VWAP. But once again, look at these dips, okay? On almost every single major pullback on Bitcoin in our 2017 rally. We're looking at this right here, and it's this simple. I mean, you want to look like a fucking genius on Twitter? You want to look like a genius to your friends? You know, I went over how to set the VWAP up. You got to go to your settings, inputs, anchor period needs to be year, and I turned calculate standard deviation bands off. But you can see here that these standard deviation bands might be actionable intel. I'm just not using them. I think that's a new feature that they've added in the VWAP. But on this dump, the VWAP was the exact bottom. On this dump, the VWAP was the exact bottom. And I mean, all the way back, right? You can see we're below the VWAP, tested it, swing failure on the VWAP, more down. We got above the VWAP now, it's up, ends up being the bottom here. Break above the VWAP, put bids on the VWAP, you got filled at the bottom again. Exact bottom right here, this is in 2016. Broke below the VWAP, consolidated below the VWAP, boom. Above the VWAP, once again, the wicks touch the VWAP. Ends up being the exact bottom. This is 2015, the VWAP, exact bottom, the VWAP, where the dump stops. Below the VWAP, we're bearish. Above the VWAP, buy the VWAP, buy the dip, now we're up. So this is on XBT USD, and I'm using the BitMEX in virtual or perpetual inverse swap contract because the signal has been so reliable. And you can use this VWAP indicator on other things besides Bitcoin, right? It works on other things. But you can see here, I mean, even here, this dip wasn't as significant as the others, but you got this dip down. We had this nice engulfing candle reversal above the volume weighted average price, right? We're still bullish. We're below the volume weighted average price. This VWAP would have gotten you out of Bitcoin on the 10th of January around $15,000. You're probably not ever gonna sell the top. But the thing is now you can just see this right here, right? Amazing. Now you have a tool to where you can look at this trend and you can know, hey, are we still risk on or risk off? Well, what does that mean? Risk on just means that the market's still bullish, people are still deploying capital, people aren't risking off, which means people are selling their positions, people are moving to stable coins, people are hedging. The market is very much still risk on as long as we are above this volume weighted average price. Now you can see here on this previous dump, we did actually go below this volume weighted average price for a bit. Wicked up, this was rejected, but when we finally did break above it again, a couple of candles above the VWAP, and it was off to the races, right? You were a happy camper buying Bitcoin around here. Maybe, you sold it right here, but at the same time, it's not about capturing all of the move, especially if you're a trader. You want to be exposed to the market when the market is moving, when the market's making you money, and then you don't want to be exposed to the market below the VWAP because there's always that what if. Is the party over, or does the music stopped and, I'm going to try to sit my ass in a chair, right? We're all playing musical chairs and there's no chair for me. I don't want to be that guy. So you guys will see me using this moving forward. I wanted to go over this because I do believe it's such a powerful tool. Especially earlier on in church, we focused a lot on TA and education and things like that. So it's important. I don't want you to just be that guy that, loves church and I appreciate it. I'm glad you're here because that's why I have a job. But at the same time, I want you to be able to do this shit on your own. If I wasn't here, if you don't have other people you rely on, you got to be able to kind of think for yourself here. And when the echo chamber of Twitter, and everybody's kind of got a different echo chamber, just based on who you follow. When the echo chamber of Twitter is just going so hard, because think about how many fucking people right here just got bearish as hell, right? We're going to 40K, we're going to 35K, we're going to 40. 42. We weren't below the VWAP. Nobody had any kind of right to be saying that. And the VWAP, once again, ended up being a God tier entry. In a God tier entry. Bro, 3 digits music. I've been over the VWAP settings twice now. I'm only gonna do it one more time. Add the VWAP to your chart under indicators. Type in VWAP, it's under built-in. On anchor period, you wanna change this to year. Now you can have standard deviation bands, which could be actionable on their own. Look, you can see right here, check this out. This is pretty interesting. Maybe we'll take a look at this on stream. But you can see right here that these standard deviation bands for the volume weighted average price ended up being pretty good. Let's change the standard deviation band settings. I guess number 1's not showing. But you can see here that we're above the VWAP now, but we got outside of 1 standard deviation of this volume weighted average price. And you can see here that this ended up being the perfect entry here and here. And when we broke below this, that was the dip to buy. That's really interesting. Same thing for here. You know, consolidating above, right? The volume weighted average price ended up being pretty solid support right there. But on this dip right here, you can see that these wicks where Bitcoin found support right above this standard deviation band. And even then, check this out. Yeah, I think this is actually pretty useful intel. You can see that the price of Bitcoin, and this might be an even early indicator, you know, if you want to really be, minding your risk and shit. But you can see right here that we were above this upper standard deviation band the entire run in 2019. And when we broke below this, it actually acted as resistance. We came up above it again. Maybe you were going to buy here, but you can see it rejected this level, right? It was a swing failure, rejected, consolidated below the bands a little bit. That would have been your short signal again. And then maybe your take profit signal on that short would have been the VWAP. Standard deviation bands, not as good of a signal, but still kind of actionable in 2017. And the same for the past. Recently, though, you know, from 2019 moving forward, these standard deviation bands do look like they're good intel. They do look like they're pretty actionable. So maybe you just keep them on your chart. You know, do some visual backtesting on your own, study them. We need as much information as we can get. You know, especially if we find something that works that well, that just we can keep it that simple. It can really take a lot of the stress out of this, right? Because we don't have to just be constantly like, is it top? Is it top? Is it going down? Is it going up? What's happening? What's going on? Yeah, the VWAP is not charting as well outside of BitMEX. Like I said, I actually tried this on Binance, on Bitstamp, on so many other places. On BitMEX, it does seem to be pretty consistent. Now let's try it on, you know, some kind of Ethereum. Let's see. Maybe we'll try it on Bitfinex. You know what? We're gonna do this on Binance first. That's where a lot of the volume is, right? Okay. Oh. Once again, you know, you can actually see this here, just like Bitcoin, being a pretty god tier indicator, right? Kind of the bottom, kind of the bottom, the bottom. Ethereum's it's just been in a slow, grindy uptrend since early 2021. You know, we really haven't had this like local, extremely parabolic like situation yet. But you're right. Somebody said it works amazing on Curve, on Binance. Look, you can see right here though. No, we've tested this right here. Maybe you punt along right here at the bottom of the band, 124. You're taking profit at the VWAP up here. Punt along right here, taking profit at the top. Now you get gig along up here because we've crossed outside this one standard deviation, and boom. And look, we've kind of remained above that. We're back above it now, which signals that, you know, Ethereum is in a strong uptrend. But even looking back, you know, you can kind of see this same behavior. And this is just done really well. Somebody said it works really well on Curve. What I would advise you to do is to just, what the F is going on here? Hold on, change this to regular scale. Yep, it does look like it's worked quite well here. You know, it points out the exact uptrend, the exact spot to buy right here, $1.70, you know, whatever. Curve is a really interesting chart. Namely, and I'm just going to do away with that so you can see this, because we do have this wedge structure, right? And this is when everybody got all hype, you know, before the dump. But we had this wedge structure, you know, we broke out, we consolidated, you know, throwback, whatever you want to call it. It was off to the races. But then, you know, dump back down, we tested this support level, and now you can see it breaking back out. So it's kind of reclaiming that break. That's kind of what we're seeing across the board here. Just something to note. I am going to put this back on Bitcoin because this is my Bitcoin chart screen. Okay, and look right here. You can also see that the top, right, the standard deviation band, and you know what? Something even more interesting. We had this Ethereum alt season. Look when it happened. From the 10th of January, when Bitcoin was inside these standard deviation bands. That's another thing that I'm actually going to be looking at here and seeing, you know, using that as a thesis. But once again, we're inside these standard deviation bands. As long as we remain in these standard deviation bands for Bitcoin, I'm going to assume that it's still Ethereum season. When we break above these standard deviation bands for Bitcoin, then I'm going to probably say, hey, you know, it's time to rotate into Bitcoin. What that means, though, you know, looking at this chart, you know, if we were to, you know, pull something similar to this, it would mean that the top for Bitcoin right here is going to be around 56.4, maybe somewhere from the 56 to 57 range. And then, you know, maybe we see Bitcoin consolidate here, you know, crab a little bit. This is just the volume weighted average price. People must like just now be joining in or whatever. Just something to pay attention to, okay? We are going to look at a couple of shitcoins. Quick Rook news. Rook Hog has announced that there will be utility for Rook coming in the next quarter. In the coming quarter, which begins in about 10 days. The next quarter for Rook is significant because not only do you have your standard 30% reduction in emissions, but also the structure of those emissions is changing. Right now, you have 70% of those Rook emissions going to hiding game. Those are the people carrying out these ARBs and stuff, you know, using the limit orders. And then you have 30% of those emissions going to LP. Those are the people that provide liquidity for flash loans. So starting next quarter, just like, you know, we had last quarter, we're not only going to have a reduction in emissions, but we're also having a change in where those emissions are going. I think we will be whitelisted on Bancor. I think I voted for it. I'll go double check after this stream. Woo is a good coin, so happy to bring them in. But the new structure is going to be 20% to LPs, 40% to the hiding game, okay? And then 40% to people that are using K-Compound. K-Compound is something that Keeper DAO has developed that gives you better liquidation prices. And if you are going to get liquidated, you will lose less of your money. And also, it adds a buffer to where you won't get liquidated on like freak events and shit like that, where on other shit you would normally get liquidated. So pay attention for that. You know, we have governance. We've got this change in emission structure, which, you know, 30% reduction coupled with, hey, now you're only getting 40% rewards, you know, instead of that, these arbitragers aren't going to have nearly as many coins to unload in the market. We don't have information yet on exactly how K compound liquidations are going to be, you know, incentivized. If it's going to be a daily thing, like you farm with LP, you know, just for having your shit in there, or what, we don't quite know yet. They're going to be telling us, I believe, in this month's dev update, which is due imminently. So keep your eyes on that. Somebody wanted to look at an Everest chart. I'd say we got about 20 minutes left, so we are going to look at some charts and things like that. I just want to say right now, you know, this VWAP thing, I kind of did the same tutorial in Messy Charts in our Discord. If you're not in Hxro Labs Discord, I highly recommend you join. The Trading Pit has moved there. If you are in the Trading Pit Telegram channel, on the pinned message, you can find a link to join that Discord. Jose says, I hope there's a migration feature for Compound to K Compound. Yeah, me as well. We're not going to be covering Safe Moon and shit like that, guys. You know, for better or for worse, whether I'm right or wrong, I try to cover projects that I believe have strong fundamentals that aren't just total fucking scams. And I am primarily covering Ethereum-based DeFi as well. So if you want, you know, to have Safe Moon covered or something like that, if you want something like that covered, I'm not your guy. Thoughts on Solana ecosystem? Don't think you were holding much. Curious why. Yeah, I actually have a good bit of exposure to the Solana ecosystem through Hxro token. I own a lot of Hxro token. I love Solana. One thing I will say about Solana that I don't think people are understanding here is they think that Solana is going to have this same, like, and the Solana projects are going to have this same, like, Binance Smart Chain level, like, run, energy, etc., etc. Jordan Belfort is a fucking joke. I wouldn't buy anything that dude was talking about. He's literally went to jail for dumping scams on people. So one thing about Solana relative to BSC, BSC saw a lot of influx of money, a lot of success, very fast. And one of the reasons for that was the fact that BSC was direct copy and paste over from Ethereum. BSC benefited from years of development progress on Ethereum that was able to literally just be direct ported over. So all of a sudden you had an environment to where, hey, you know, maybe people aren't making as many rugs on Ethereum anymore because it costs $200 to make a rug. Well, it costs like $2 to make a rug on Binance Smart Chain. And all of the development, not all of it, but the vast majority of the innovation, you know, and stuff like that had already been done on Ethereum. So it was really, really easy for all of this money to just come in and boom, 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 boom. There's just projects coming out left and right, left and right, left and right, like crazy. Solana, in my opinion, is going to be a bit more long tail, especially the Solana ecosystem. You know, if you think you're going to get into Solana ecosystem and you're going to buy Hxro and you're going to buy Radium and you're going to buy this and that, and you know, you're going to be like Pancake Swap, for example, you're going to be 100x in 2 months. You know, in my opinion, that's not what you're going to see. Most of the things in the Solana ecosystem are more long tail. All that means is that it may take some time. I think you're going to see great gains and great returns, but it may take some time for the ecosystem to actually rev up as hard as Binance Smart Chain did. And the reason is it's not just a direct copy and paste, you know. Solana uses Rust. It's not Solidity. I can't just take every fucking scam that's ever been on Ethereum and put it on Solana, and now, hey, we have just as many scams as Ethereum, come play, you know, come to our casino. It's not like that. Solana is a bit different in that regard. But I do think, you know, if you have a long tail mindset, and I don't even know if being an investor in this space is valid. I'd like to think it is now because the space has come so far. You know, we've made a lot of progress. But I'm still worried just about, you know, my entire existence in crypto, things go up, things go down. You know, nothing really is constituted a good investment when it all comes down to it. No, Yaxis is no longer the small cap play. You know, I said, I don't remember how many weeks ago, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. I'll go ahead and pull up Yax. Let me discuss this really quick though, actually. So right, what you see here, you know, bam, price discovery, support resistance flip. You can see the wicks to the downside. And now we actually lost this level. So it's very important for ID that we reclaim this level. It does appear to be doing so right now. You know, a lot of people consider ID a Sam coin. I don't know if it's directly a Sam coin or not. I don't think it's a Solana ecosystem, which, you know, I think you've got to be Solana ecosystem like Hxro to be classified as Sam coin. But this does look good. You know, if you are in that, I would be watching for this level to be reclaimed. That would be very bullish. We are looking at a lot of these breakdowns right now being reclaimed. We'll take a look at Shroom, Rojogan. We're going to look at Yax really quick because I know a lot of people here got in Yax. Really, really clean PA here. And you can see here, you know, here's your resistance level. Boom, we broke above that. That became support. This is where we were talking about Yax down here at $15. Yax, of course, now at $67. So if you did get in Yax when we were talking about it, you are about 4 to 5x on your entry. Congratulations. You can see here though, Yax is in price discovery, and I really, you know, we are seeing some hesitation up here. There's obviously sellers up here. Maybe it spent some time going sideways. But one thing that you can see here that I really do like is you see these two big wicks down to this previous resistance level. That's a pretty solid support resistance flip in my book. In terms of getting in on the best low cap, you know, to where you maybe can get that 4 or 5x, I don't think Yax is it anymore. We'll take a look at Shroom because somebody recommended Shroom Finance. You know, got that old GAN fan drawn in there, so we'll go ahead and blow that away. Give me just a second, I'm going to mark this chart up. Looking once again, previous resistance level, support resistance flip, and then once again, previous resistance level. You can see this block right here with the breaker to the upside, so we're going to place our resistance here. Once again, we've got that flip, and then we can look for a momentum break, which you can measure with a diagonal. And you can see that if you were really bullish on Shroom, and I don't know much about this, so don't go saying, you know, I've done a lot of research. I knew a lot about Yax. I knew what it was. I knew that 0xB1 had been backing it, but just based on the chart, it does look like we have a momentum break on this diagonal. It does look like we have a confirmed support resistance flip right here, and we are moving to the upside. You know, I'm sure this is really low cap. We'll check it out really quick. CoinGecko. Is it even on CoinGecko? Is it called Nifty X now? $27 million market cap, $34 million FDV. A lot of that supply is in circulation, so you really, yeah, it's rebranded to Nifty X protocol. Okay. So it's no longer Shroom.finance. That's still the ticker, though. Check out niftyx.org. The global layer for NFTs exchange. So they're building the infrastructure required to easily deploy and connect niche-focused global NFT markets, ensuring a neutral playing field for creators, users, and private firms. Interesting. Now there's also an NFTX that we'll look at. NFTs are going to emerge again. You know, a lot of people that bought these NFTs a month or two ago are in total Wojak mode right now because, surprise, surprise, and you guys know I'm an NFT hater and you know I've talked about this, nobody fucking wants them. People bought Beeples for hundreds of Ethereum and they can't even sell them at a fucking 70% discount. You know why? Because nobody fucking wants that shit. Yes, NFTs come after the DeFi run. That's everybody's made 5, 6x. NFTs are going to get hot again. now is probably a good time to get in on these NFTs while people are in Wojak mode, you know, while nobody does want them. You can figure that out, figure out what ones are valuable. I'm not the guy to talk to about which NFTs are going to be the ones to pop. We do have an NFT channel in our Hxro Labs Discord. I'd give that a look. There are some way more knowledgeable people than me. I have bought some NFTs just out of boredom, really. I bought some ape onlys, bought some moon cats. But NFTs, nobody gives a fuck about NFTs right now. It does look like Shroom is an NFT protocol. So, you know, I would imagine Shroom's a good valuation, you know, if you are looking for that 4 to 5x, and, you know, because they've shifted their narrative to this NFT narrative, I do think that that's going to be an interesting play in the coming months. Right now, it could end up being really good value just based on the TA. Let's look at NFTX, which provides liquidity. And I believe we're going to have to check ChartX Pro for this. Let me make sure I have the ticker right. Oh. Yeah, it's NFTX. Change this to daily. See, absolutely fucking wrecked. You know, of course, ramped up with a lot of the other DeFi. Great value, you know, if you got in down here, you're still in quite a bit of profit. But this just got absolutely fucking shit on. Big time. Support resistance wise, and once again, these NFT plays, you know, I'm not quite sure if they're going to be good plays now, if it's going to run with DeFi. This ran with DeFi because it was hot, it was getting shilled a lot, right? I don't know if these are still going to run with DeFi or what. But you can see here, really, really nice bounce on this support level. I would imagine if you are an NFTX bull and, you know, you do want some of that long tail exposure and you don't mind waiting, this could end up being a really interesting play. So you can see right here, kind of just what we're working with. And then also draw this trend line down here. Notice I'm drawing my trend lines on the line chart. It just makes it so much easier, guys. I'd suggest you do the same. It's the same thing as drawing your trend lines on the candle bodies. This does look quite good. And maybe this will squeeze out sometime. And look at this. This resolves towards the middle of May. That lends a bit of credibility towards Y-axis V1 should, I think it's still exchangeable for Y-axis V2. So it still should be a valid chart. But just looking at this, you can look at NFTX right here. Once again, $64 million market cap. You know, if you are bullish on NFTs, there is a lot of the supply that is already in circulation. I wouldn't expect to just get hammered on whatever, but when NFTs do heat up again, when this stuff starts to move, this may be a good idea. Now, we're going to see a lot of DeFi charts, and I am going to be wrapping this up probably in the next 5 or 10 minutes. But we see a lot of DeFi charts that look like this right now. I'm going to pull up Alpha. And you can see, you know, this big run up and then just literally sideways. This has been going sideways since February. Sideways-ish, right? It's logarithmic, so... But look at this. Here's the linear for anybody that's interested. I do like to chart in log. But you see this big run up, making lower highs, but it's found support down here. Pretty much the exact same chart, and you'll see this, like I said, on in some shape or form on several DeFi, lower cap DeFi protocols. And Alpha's not even that low cap. But MPH, for example, is the exact same chart as Alpha, for the most part, right? And this has actually been going sideways since the middle of January. So we're talking 100 days in this range. Is it accumulation or distribution? I'd like to think that it is that it's accumulation. You know, just because Ethereum is rallying versus Bitcoin, we are seeing DeFi making a comeback, making a reemergence. DeFi or MPH is a really, really good thing to get into. Very low cap, $38 million market cap. A lot of the circulating supply is already in circulation, or a lot of the supply already is in circulation. These guys are doing fixed rates. Right now, we're in a market that reacts extremely well to news catalysts. You know, that's just a sign of the times. In 2017, the big news catalyst was airdrops. A big news and what you could do is you could buy before the airdrop and things would run up into the airdrop, right? A big catalyst this time seems to be new versions of protocols coming out, new functionality, TVL, like things like that, things that bring in more TVL, that bring in more users, that bring in more cash flow, more revenue. MPH is releasing MPH v3 in May. Now, I believe it's going to be very soon. I think they're waiting on audits and shit, because the developers for a while were saying that they expect this to be out before Uni v3, and we know that drops in like, what, May 8th or May 7th or something like that. Really interesting. Yeah, I needed to look at it myself, Chad. I have seen a lot of people talking about it. All those 3 people on Twitter, that's okay, so it's May 5th. That's the date for Uniswap v3. We're going to take a look at the Uniswap chart. We'll look at some blue chips as the final thing that we're doing. But let's just take one more look at y-axis, okay? And look, see, it's $70 here for y-axis v2. $68 for v1. There's just more price history here, so it's a little bit easier to look at, right? People are probably arbing and converting that over every time that there's a premium on Yax v2. But right here, one of the reasons why I suggested at the beginning of April that this was such a good buy was the release of Yax v2 was imminent. That was a new version, right? That was the new wave, and look, 4 or 5x since then. So Yax was like a $10 million market cap. There wasn't a lot of liquidity. So that really created an environment where this could run. There's a bit more liquidity on something like MPH. It's a bit higher market cap. But even then, you know, looking at this right now, it was number 620 in CoinGecko at a $40 million market cap. There's absolutely room for this to run. So I have Luna up, large cap once again, Zavi, Korean Jew. We're saying this is the same chart as Bancor for a while. This dumped a lot harder than Bancor, and it also recovered a lot harder than Bancor. One thing that's very concerning about this chart is this daily candle. We did have a reclaim on this level that we lost right here that led to this big capitulation, right? And we reclaimed this level. But we have tweezer top right here at around $18.50. Extremely strong rejection on this right here. We've got our yearly VWAP on this chart. The yearly VWAP is all the way down here around $7. If we do reject here and we do lose this level again, that's where I'll be expecting this to head. Somewhere in the $7 to $10 range would end up being probably a good entry for this, assuming that the market is still risk on. Let's look at Uni, BAL, Compound, YFI, Synthetics, Aave, and we're just going to blow through these really quick. Uni entering price discovery here, really nice to see. I am going to draw a quick trend line on this. And it does appear to be breaking this trend line to the upside too. You know, DeFi like this moving is going to catalyze the rest of the DeFi market to move. So I do really like seeing that, especially with Uni v2 release imminent. I mean, we're talking in less than 2 weeks, or Uni V3, my bad. In less than 2 weeks, Uni V3 is going to be out. Really, really solid news catalyst on that. Where's it going to go? If it runs really hard, you know, I would be looking at anywhere from maybe $70 to $100 on this. Let's look at YFI. Very similar chart right here. YFI has just kind of been a stinker. It hasn't done too much since its epic run up in DeFi summer. We have this level right here. We tried to flip it. We tried to enter price discovery here. It was rejected, came down, back to the VWAP, boom, 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 bounce. And now once again, we're reclaiming this level, which is what we've seen on so many charts, so many of these DeFi charts, which is super bullish. We'll do Badger really quick, actually. All right, so Badger bounced at $24, extremely solid bounce. What we're really going to be wanting to watch for Badger is this $38 level. We need to reclaim $38. As you can see, when we got below this, it was just down only. We ended this sideways consolidation or distribution period likely. But if we were to get back above $38, you know, that would be extremely bullish for Badger. Like do something like this would be what I'd be looking for. But as of right now, I mean, this is at resistance, and it's not just at this diagonal, but it's also at this horizontal level right here. So Badger does have a bit of a challenge ahead of it. So reclaim on YFI, not in price discovery yet, but this reclaim is very bullish. You know, we'll want to see this level hold, and if DeFi really starts accelerating, I think YFI 100K is the meme target. I think that's going to look really good. So synthetics, you know, something I want to note about this is synthetics is actually below that volume weighted average price. This is one of the worst looking DeFi charts. Don't ask me why. I thought synthetics was like mega blue chip and everybody was obsessed with it. But this just doesn't look too hot, right? Now we can actually draw this little flag structure right here. And you can see this flag structure in a lot of charts. Ave's chart actually looks very similar. But once again, you know, we really need to reclaim this VWAP level, you know, otherwise around $18 does appear like it's going to be significant resistance. Not only do you have this level right here, which you can see that, you know, bounce, and then when we broke below this level, it served as resistance. Above this level, it was support. Below this level, it's resistance. We're going to need to get above this level again and squeeze our way out of this flag. If we are able to do so, you know, we can take the length of the flagpole and apply it maybe to the point of a breakout. And we could be looking at a target of anywhere from, I'd say, $36 to $40 on synthetics. Once again, a solid 2x on a blue chip DeFi. Super liquid. It's not a bad trade, if that's all you're looking for. Somebody said, you know, let's do sushi while we're doing all of these. Once again, you see that yearly VWAP, the perfect spot for a bounce. You do see right here, this is definitely like kind of a complacency leg. It's going to be interesting to see what happens to sushi with the release of Uniswap v3. If Uniswap just steals the show, you know, takes all of sushi's thunder. Sushi was an absolutely epic run up from 40 cents all the way to $20. So one of the best performers since early November when this actually bottomed. But for now, you know, we have shown that we've bounced on this VWAP. You know, we're still risk on, we're still bullish on sushi. And we can draw this level right here. And this is really the level that we're going to be looking to reclaim, $14. If we are able to reclaim this level, maybe consolidate here for a bit before more upside. Not 100% sure. But once again, this is probably one of the worst looking DeFi charts out there. Once again, potential flag structure. I mean, we'll see what happens, right? A lot of unknowns here. Oh, huge bullish divergence here too. So extremely strong bounce. I mean, this was way oversold. I wouldn't classify Bancor as a blue chip quite yet. You know, most of the time when people are talking blue chip, they're talking sushi, they're talking uni, they're talking compound, they're talking balancer, talking YFI, things like that. They kind of have to earn their stripes, you know, and Bancor is definitely on its way to becoming a blue chip. but I wouldn't necessarily call it a blue chip yet. Balancer, once again, the VWAP God tier here, you know, exact bottom. We're still above the VWAP here. One really interesting thing about Balancer, and somebody said there's a new version of Balancer on the way. We did hold this support level, you know, which has looked really good. We do, I mean, I really am not going to classify this as having gone, you know, mega parabolic yet. So for this, I would be really paying attention to this channel. And if we were to break this channel to the upside, you know, I think that would be very bullish for Balancer. I'm not quite sure, you know, how far it would go, but I guess time would tell. I'm not really sure even, you know, how much utility Balancer has, the value accrual, things like that. It's not because it doesn't have them. It's just I haven't done much research. Aave, which is probably the most blue chip of blue chips. I've already got this flag structure drawn on here, right at resistance. Once again, all of this DeFi shit breaking out, and this is why you really haven't seen an acceleration in the DeFi markets yet. All of this DeFi shit breaking out is really going to drag everything with it, and we're so close to that happening. I'm really excited. I'm cautiously optimistic though. We'd want to see this breakout, retest, and then move to the upside. Very similar to the other things that have this kind of flag structure. You know, we can take the length of the flagpole, apply it to the point of break, and maybe get a potential target of, I'd say it normally doesn't get all the way to the top. Anywhere from 800 to 1,000, you know, some kind of top in that region would not surprise me. Now, the timeline for those tops, I'm not quite sure how aggressively this is going to accelerate. So we'll have to see. So apparently V2 and Balancers tomorrow. It's really weird. Some of these news events, like, they react after, and sometimes they react before. You know, maybe Balancer is one that's really gonna kick it into high gear after. Really quick, we're just about at conclusion here. We are gonna take a look at MTA. MTA is reclaiming right now this breakdown of this diagonal, which is really good to see. So we're reclaiming the breakdown of this diagonal on this wedge. Super bullish. You know, we'll see what MTA's got when it breaks out of this. But once again, that yearly volume weighted average price, we are below that price. We have been for quite some time. MTA is still a new protocol, approaching a year old in the next couple of months, right? But it is still pretty new. When we get above this volume weighted average price, which has acted as resistance time and time again, resistance, the exact top, then we can see MTA finally have some good upside. Okay, here's the thing. Yo, hi. I don't give up on things that have good fundamentals, because in the past, I mean, 90% of the time when I look at something and I see good fundamentals, it's just a matter of holding. If I have the balls and I have the strength to hold these things long enough, I end up making crazy money on them. I don't think MTA is any different than that. Very similar to pretty much every huge win I've ever had in my life, dating back to Decred. You know, beyond that, I held Ardor for a while, had an amazing win on that. Next was an airdrop play, amazing win on that. News event once again. But Ren, I held Ren for almost 2 years, an amazing win on Ren. Held RSR for about a year, an amazing win on RSR. I don't believe this is going to be any different than those. So time will tell, but I still feel really good about it. You know, and we will be seeing what's happening. Now, MTA, a lot of people are really bullish on Matic right now as a level 2 for Ethereum, because the infrastructure is built out. It's a really good level 2 experience. MTA is on Matic. They ported over to Matic, and you can get in there and you can utilize their meta assets and their savings vaults on Matic now, which is really cool. Bancor, really similarly to some of these other things that we've seen, Bancor has this flag structure, right? With Bancor, the big thing is going to be reclaiming this level, just like a lot of other things. It does appear to be doing so right now, but we're going to need to reclaim this level we're going to need to break out of this flag. And the flagpole target puts Bancor around $15, which a lot of people, I think, have calculated as a target anyway. Of course, some people say 20, some people say 25. Around 15, I'll feel pretty comfortable selling. Having that stablecoin exposure and then deciding, what to do from there. But I am pretty confident that Bancor has more upside in it. We'll take a look at Rook perp really quick. So volume profile, that's what we have over on the right. One thing that volume profile likes to do is it likes to be uniform. Now this gap used to be a lot deeper right here. You can see Rook consolidating right in this area and filling this gap in. When Rook is ready to run, I would anticipate that this volume profile looks more similar to this. But once again, we have upcoming news catalysts for Rook, we have utility coming for Rook, we have governance coming for Rook, we have reduced inflation coming for Rook. So in terms of news, there's just about as much news as you can possibly want. But once again, we're going to be spending a bit of time right here filling in this volume gap, I would expect. Of course, we've got another volume gap right here. So the next thing that I would imagine that we do is come up here. Once again, the yearly VWAP right here. See, we broke above, tested as support, bounced, but we lost it right here and dumped back down and tested these lows. Once again, when we get up here and spend some more time filling this in, I would imagine this pulls this VWAP down a little bit. We get above this VWAP, and then we work on filling in this gap before we have some kind of price discovery. Just what I'm looking at on this. Doesn't mean it's right or it's wrong. Of course, Rook extremely oversold versus Ethereum and on support as well. You can see the volume profile distribution a lot better on this. Maybe if Ethereum really runs hard, we poke down here to fill in that a little bit. But for the most part, I am expecting this to bounce up as well. And once again, the VWAP right here serving as resistance, serving as support. We're bullish above it, we break below it, and Rook has been in a downtrend ever since. So looking to reclaim this VWAP, and then you'll know it's go time for Rook. But we've been doing this for about an hour now, which is what I like to keep church at now, just to keep the information, as unclouded as possible. Be looking at these DeFi coins, these blue chips. They're going to be great signals to show you when the rest of the market is ready to move. Once again, when does DeFi normally move? It moves when Ethereum is moving against Bitcoin, at least Ethereum-based DeFi. So I do believe that we have plenty of supporting evidence to suggest that these blue chip DeFis are going to break out, and that money is going to bleed down and it's going to pump the rest of DeFi. One thing that you can look at just to see kind of all of it at once is this DeFi perp. We can see this really nice pennant structure right here, a break above the pennant structure. This is DeFi perp on FTX, by the way. We broke it above the pennant structure, we've retested the pennant structure, and now we're on the way up again. So be looking for fresh all-time highs on DeFi perp, price discovery. That'll be another good indicator of things to come. And yeah, I am interested in Link. So Link will be the last thing that we look at before we get on out of here. Of course, Link, very similarly to Rook, stands to benefit from the MEV narrative that's emerging around EIP 1559. You can see right here that Link broke above this channel briefly right here and was rejected and moved to the downside. Once again, volume weighted average price on Link. If you look at this, Link has been above the VWAP since April of 2020. And any dip since this date above the VWAP has been an amazing buy. The bottom, the bottom, the bottom, the bottom. I'm not quite sure what Link's future has in store for it from this point. The best I can do is this ascending wedge here. Hopefully what ends up happening for the Marines is we were able to break out of this and continue the upside. But once again, you know, now is the time in the market, in my opinion, to where, at least how I'm playing it, is I want to be a bit greedy because I think that there's some more juice to squeeze, but I don't want to be too greedy and I don't want to set my expectations too high. 2, 3, you know, X maybe is where I'm looking to take profit on things, you know, that are more high cap like Banklore. And then for things like Rook, I do think Rook, MPH, you know, maybe if you're in Yaks, it might have another 2, 3X left in it. Alpha, it depends on how high the market cap is, but if we're talking mid caps and lower, then we'll be looking for 3, 4, and 5X on those. I don't think that you're going to be seeing the same 100X type of gains in a month or two that we saw in Binance Smart Chain. It's just different, but at the same time, there is money to be made here. So play it smart, you know, add that VWAP to your chart, change it to a year setting. Yeah, MTA, definitely looking for a solid 5X from here. Get those settings right, and most importantly, we've had this amazing market for so long now. Don't be the guy that gets too greedy and leaves all those gains on the table. You know, squeeze the last bit of juice out, but most importantly, you know, you need to be starting to think about how to keep that money, and start thinking about a plan at least for de-risking, for moving forward from this. And could I be too conservative? Yes, but let me tell you something. The most amazing thing about being too conservative here is that if I am too conservative and I am wrong, and Ethereum DeFi somehow is going to go 20x from here, I can always buy back in the market when I realize that, hey, you know, I got out a bit too early. But at the same time, you also need to be thinking about what your personal goals are, you know, how certain amounts of money can change your life in certain ways. And when you hit those milestones, sometimes just enough is enough. And, you know, if I was 3 or 4x from where my portfolio is right now, I mean, that would certainly be enough. And would it be nice to be 20x from where my portfolio is right now? Yeah, it would, because I'd probably buy a yacht and a jet and, you know, all that great stuff. But at the same time, I don't need that, you know, to change my life forever. You have to know when enough is enough. And here's the thing. If you sell at a point when enough is enough and you're able to buy a house and a car and pay off your debt and, you know, or send your kids to school or whatever it is the fuck you're trying to do, you know, maybe your goal is to get a new gaming PC. You know, everybody's at different points in their life. When you reach that point, you're never going to regret taking that money and doing what you originally set out to do. You know, don't let this money be a drug. But with that, we are going to conclude Shitcoin Church. Everybody out there, make sure you have a plan. The next couple of months could be very exciting. Pay attention to DeFi Perp. Look for that new all-time high. Pay attention to those majors on DeFi. Be looking for those breakups. When you see that happening, you're gonna know that the market is ready to fucking go. So pay attention. If you're not in the Hxro Labs Discord, join the Hxro Labs Discord. I'm going to post the link to join the Discord right under the YouTube link that I posted on my Twitter to join this session of church. So until next time, we will see you guys later. Adios.